Hey guys, you started the new year off and you're like, man, I really need to get me a side hustle to earn some extra money, right? And you've seen all these videos about, oh, the 5 best side hustles, the 10 best side hustles, right? Or alternate side hustles no one ever talks about. Well, let's go over some of the bigger side hustles and I want to dive into each one like more specifically, right? So in this video, we're going to dive in about being an Uber driver, right? Is being an Uber driver the best side hustle for you? Right? And you might be asking, well, why Uber? Why not Lyft? Or why not this company? Well, because there was a survey done of rideshare drivers, and there's two reasons for driving with Uber, right? That's better than all the others, right? So supplement your current income or be your own, boss, full time or part time, right? But as the hidden cost to professional driving rises, right, gig workers might, wonder if it's worth it, right? So let's talk about it, right? So one of the first things we're going to talk about is just working for Uber, right? Because Uber is a good job for some side money. It is one of the great weekend only part time jobs you can find out there. So, how does Uber work for drivers? Well, once a user requests a ride and pays for it with a digital wallet, the ride request will pop up in your driver app. At this point, you can choose to accept it or pass on it. Driving for Uber, you can provide, shared rides, health rides, and even long distance trips. Now, the pickup is fast and easy. The great advantage for drivers and couriers is that you get to see and drive to different parts of town. Now, making money driving is a convenient way for the 5+ million drivers out there to make money with one of the jobs you can attain without degrees. Uber welcomes, interested individuals from an array of industries and backgrounds, such as a courier, driver, truck driver, professional driver, taxi driver, food delivery driver, right? And you only need a driver's license, right? So, as for the vehicle, you know, you, you don't need one to start making money driving with Uber, right? But, I would suggest, you read carefully all the terms and conditions in your agreement, right? Uber changes the rules frequently, so you must be up to date to, avoid a violation of the terms of service and losing your ability to operate as a driver through the app. All right, well, what's the second thing? Let's talk about some of the pros and cons, right? So, is the grass greener in the world of the side hustle? Well, that's a question that a lot of people ask themselves, right? Particularly with the growth and the big boom of the gig economy, right? Now, while the company is still running, during the pandemic and it's still been going strong, some things have changed after Uber IPO'd, right? So, what are the main attractions for driving with Uber? Okay, well, your working hours can fit around other commitments, right? You get to set your own hours. That's great. You can earn more with delivery, right? You can switch and start earning money delivering food, right? The Uber driver app can send you ride and delivery requests. You only have to accept what is most convenient for you. Keep in mind that you have to pay charges on your earnings, right? And then there's getting paid instantly, right? Now, it is one of the apps that lets you get paid the same day. Thanks to Uber money drivers, right? And couriers, right? They're going to have real time access to their earnings after every trip with instant payments. What about the disadvantage, right? There's always disadvantages. So, drivers must upgrade their personal auto insurance to commercial rideshare insurance, right? Now, you can go Google, how to find cheap insurance to do all that, right? Because there's a lot of wear and tear on your vehicle, right? And then there's a lack of support, right? You can feel a sense of frustration and isolation or loneliness, when you're trying to talk with a member of the driver support team, right? And speaking of, you're picking up these people, right? Well, is it safe? Or is it safe to be an Uber driver? Right? I mean, it could be dangerous. In San Francisco, the latest news recently, they reported an attack on an Uber driver made by, you know, people following a mass dispute, right? Like, it's like, okay, like, what's gonna happen? So in these strange and uncertain times, you may be wondering how safe that it actually is to drive a stranger in your car, right? Well, you know, you gotta go. You have to undergo, continuous background checks to ensure the safety of riders. life as an Uber driver is, I'd say it's a little more dangerous than some of the other jobs out there, right? You know, and that's the downside of the Uber driver job. Not only do you have to pay attention to others on the road, you're picking up customers off the street and trusting them in your vehicle. Now, operating rideshare driving, right? You're not going to deal with cash. You just pay for their ride directly from the app by using their credit card or debit card or their digital Uber wallet, right? So, the risk of being robbed is, I mean, it's really, really small. It's very minimalized, right? In addition, excuse me. In addition, right, the Uber app uses vehicle tracking devices such as, GPS, so you can be located if you need help. There's other safety features too. The two-way ratings, the phone, anonymous situation, right? And the emergency assistance button. However, if you're looking for safety tips, you know, you should equip your vehicle with safety measures, right? You can install and maintain a security dash camera, right? A dash cam, they're not only useful for recording potential accidents, but people are much more likely to be on their best behavior when they know you have a dash cam in your car, right? I'm sure there's a bunch of guides out there for the best dash cams, right? You can just look that up, right? In addition, when you prepare yourself with car safety knowledge, you should be aware of things to keep in your car, right? Like a flashlight, right? Just in case it's at night and what happens. Well, let's go on to the number 4, which I'm sure everyone's interested in. How much do Uber drivers make? Right? How much money we talking? Okay, rideshare drivers are a 1099 independent contractor. So that means they earn all of their income when they drive. You will not receive benefits such as health insurance, vacation, time off, retirement, none of that. Generally speaking, when a person makes and pays for a ride with the Uber app, Uber pays a commission to the ride's price to the driver. There are no official statistics about the driver's earnings, and Uber doesn't list the payout information by, market on their website. So it's kind of difficult to find payout rates for your city. Despite this lack of transparency, there's an Uber blog, right, called Best Referral Driver. And, we can kind of go over some of the information, there, because, you need to choose for, some of the best stuff, right? So basically, how much money you're going to make on Uber depends on your location and how much time you're going to invest in it. Right? More precisely, according to the Uber app, what you are paid for a given ride depends on the distance, the time, of course, the bonus or the tip, right? There is no fixed salary. Uber's rates may vary by city, region, and time. So there's some other important things to keep in mind. You make money based on the number of rides you provide, right? The San Francisco headquartered company provides the estimated amount of earnings for every ride before you accept it. Uber will not pay you for the distance from where you're at to the pickup location. A smart driver will avoid accept pickups when they're really far away. Uber doesn't withhold taxes from earnings. You have to make estimated quarterly tax payments, right? So, how much does Uber pay? Well, if you compare the average hourly earnings, right, from drivers in California, Texas, Illinois, Washington, and a couple other states, it's somewhere around the $15 to $16 range, right? San Francisco being the highest, where they made an average hourly earnings of about $24 an hour, right? Well, does Uber pay for gas? Well, drivers need to pay for their own expenses, including gas and car maintenance. You got to take care of your vehicle because every year it's got to pass 19-point vehicle inspection, right? If your idea is not to find a hobby because you get bored at home, but you really want to make a lucrative side hustle, I mean, this might be it. To make your side hustle profitable, you must also be able to identify how you can spend less. Fuel economy cars are always the best choice, right? This is one of the things you should consider when choosing your next side hustle, right? Because if your car gets bad gas mileage, you can probably find a more profitable side hustle, right? So we're going to go over, some of these cars here in just a second, right? Because, if you want to cut your gas expenses, You can get cash back on gas by using like get upside or alternative ways, right? So let's talk about the cars, right? Like what would be the best car to drive for Uber? Well, in addition to, what we were talking about with how much Uber pays, you should know that Uber driver salary depends on the type of car driven. Working as an Uber driver with a luxury car will be paid differently than a normal car you see swarming the streets on any given day. The minimum fare you make for a like an extra large vehicle goes up quicker compared to like Uber X. In addition, with the Uber XL, you generally get a better quality of clients that tip better than Uber X riders. So, according to U.S. News and World Report, some of the best cars for rideshare, you've got a Toyota Camry hybrid or the regular Toyota Camry, a Honda Civic, Honda Accord or the hybrid, Ford Fusion, Honda Insight, the Ford Fusion hybrid, Subaru Legacy, Subaru Impreza, right? So is Uber profitable for drivers? Well, even if you don't have the right car, if you use some of those gas saving tips, keep a diligent track of your miles, you could probably boost your driving income, right? Um, One of the last things that I kind of want to touch on is time is money, right? A famous quote by Benjamin Franklin: "Waste neither time nor money, but make the best use of both." Now that you know how the Uber driver pay works, I'm sure you understand kind of how that works, right? Uber drivers are also airport drivers since the ground transportation service provides transfers from and to the airports, right? Now, is the long line at the pickup area of the airports worth it? Generally, on airport trips, drivers can have higher fares. However, the advantage of the higher earnings may become less attractive depending on the time it takes to wait for a ride or pickup. Deadhead time, the whole experience at the airports, it's got to be frustrating for drivers when the number of vehicles waiting exceeds the waiting lot's optimal capacity. Many airports have specific requirements about where riders can be picked up by vehicles on the Uber platform. Uber would suggest that customers to collect your luggage from the baggage claim area and be ready to step outside before requesting pickup. So, one suggestion is to make sure you're coming in at a time where passenger demand is higher and driver supply is moderate. So, do you need to pay for an app to check the right time to come to the airport? No. There's a bunch of different free apps to check airport delay status, flight arrivals, and departures, stuff like that. Another thing, keep in mind that professional drivers combine different gigs to maximize their earnings. A lot of experienced rideshare drivers work for Uber and for Lyft at the same time. Roadie and Dispatch It are the best side hustles that will help you avoid deadhead miles even at the airport. The rideshare company will not pay you for the time you're stuck on the traffic, right? In traffic. And one of the many, main factors, right, to consider if you want to know how much the Uber drivers make per ride, there's a time of day you'll be driving and whether there's surge in pricing. So, yeah, sure, Uber runs 24/7. An effective way to increase your earnings is to do work during peak hours, right? And the last thing that's kind of a good thing, good drivers get rewarded, right? Um, you know, you get rewarded not only from like better tips, but even Uber, right? There's Uber Pro. Each month, drivers will have the opportunity to earn cash rewards by completing a certain amount of rides. These rewards are on top of what you already earn with each ride, right? So there's a bunch of different reasons why Uber might be a good fit for you. But again, we kind of touched on like having like hybrid vehicles, gas saving tips, how much, you can make. I mean, really, it's if you have the time and you can put in, it's not like you have to do 8 hours a day, 10 hours a day, right? If you can figure out the peak hours and do it during the right time slots in the right areas, you probably make a good $15 to $20 an hour, right? Depending on tips and stuff like that, right? So hopefully you guys enjoyed this. You got some good information out of it. If you did, go ahead and like the video, subscribe to the channel if you're not already, until I see you in the next one. Y'all be safe.